Hi, guys. Good morning. This is Dan. Welcome to Engelgeist. For those of you that are new, welcome. For those of you that are returning, welcome back. For those of you that support me over on Patreon, thank you so very much for your subscriptions. I greatly appreciate it. This is the daily forecast for all signs. It's a collective shared reading, so therefore it's for anybody whenever they see it kind of thing. If it applies, use it. If it doesn't make sense or doesn't seem to fit any situations that you're dealing with in your life, that's okay. You're not doing anything wrong. Nothing's broken. It just may not be your reading. It's originally created, it's the weekly reading, the Sunday underpinning energy. So each card will represent for a day or two of the week. And it's originally created for Sunday, July 10th through Saturday, July 16th, right? If you're watching it on a date that's different than those dates, that's completely okay. If it still makes sense, like I said, utilize it. If it doesn't, again, that's okay too. Please check out the drop-down menu, especially if you're new to me. Just in there is some certain things that I want you to keep in mind, like what decks I'm using, how to book a private reading, housekeeping rules, like things I want you to think of when utilizing any of my readings. Also, how to best support the channel. Some of those ways are like hitting that thumbs up button if you enjoy the content. Subscribing to the channel is greatly appreciated. Hitting the notification bell so you get notified when I put up new content, which is daily. And sharing the video out, leaving me a question or comment. I love those too. Let me know that you're here. I got a new subscriber yesterday. So welcome. I saw somebody had subscribed and I got excited. So please help get the word out. And let's get into these cards and see what's going on for this week. You guys, let me know what you think about these decks paired together. I'm interested to know, especially for my regular viewers. Are you guys enjoying this Hidden Truth deck as a grounding stone? I don't know. To me, I feel like this White Light Oracle, it's a very cool deck, but it's very kind of trippy. And so I feel like in all of this white energy, it feels a little bit, the White Sense Tarot, the White Light Oracle, then the Hidden Truth. It's kind of like, oh shit. I don't know. It just feels a little bit much. I'm like, we're 1/3 of the way into July, and I feel like, oh my God. We've still got a couple more weeks of these decks, and I feel a little bit like they're a little heady, a little out there, a little, I don't know. It's hard to explain. So tell me what you think. I would love to know in the comments if you guys are enjoying these decks or if these messages are resonating. Are the messages in the White Light Oracle, when I read from them, are they too long? I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I'm reading forever. All right, so let's see what's going on with these cards. And because it's a new week, I saged all the decks prior to filming, so should have new, fresh energy. Oh, great. Speaking of new, fresh energy, we have death. We're leading the week out with death. It's rebirth, change, and transformation. Death is ruled by the sign of Scorpio, first and foremost. And I believe that the moon is in Scorpio right now as I film this. Am I mistaken on that? It is. It actually goes out of Scorpio by tomorrow when you guys will see this. Oh, no, sorry. The moon will still be in Scorpio on the 10th. So you guys will see this as the moon in the sign of Scorpio. Death is major arcana energy. It is big transformation. It could mean endings. Death is oftentimes inevitable, right? We all have to face death at some point. My thing with the death card, and I feel this also similar to the Tower, is that when these bigger situations that sort of shift us or transform us come at us, we need to align ourselves within them, right? And that means become comfortable with them. Don't fight against them. Don't struggle or resist against them, right? That's always kind of the rule of thumb with the Tower and death, because they're both sort of outside of the realm of our control. They are resets in a way, to like put it in a more positive spin. They are resets or transformations that take place maybe without I don't want to say without our permission, but they might seem like they're against what it is that we want or that we seek. And they're disruptive, or they can be unsettling, but they only disrupt and unsettle as much as we allow them to. Does that make sense? And so with death, there's always this aspect of rebirth. It's a cyclical thing. And Scorpio rules sex, death, and transformation. That's why the sign of Scorpio is associated with this. This would be a very obvious ending of something going on in our life. We don't have to struggle with it. We don't have to fight against it. We can be transformed. We can rise above. We can grow beyond whatever this transformation is. And each one of you is going to experience it differently. It should be, because it's the death card, it should be profound, right? It should be obvious what's transforming in front of us in the early part of this week. Decisions or pathways, ideas or relationships might be coming to a close for us, and we have to accept that, or how they exist in our day-to-day life could be coming to a close or coming to an abrupt change. But accepting that and allowing that to inform us, and allowing whatever to sort of be reborn or replaced that which is transforming. Does that make sense? We open ourselves up to newer lessons, to greater learning, to more wisdom, all of that sort of stuff. So don't be afraid if this is sort of challenging in the beginning of the week. Death is usually a challenging card. Allow it to challenge you, but also understand that you're up for the challenge. You're up for the transformation. You're up for the rebirth and the learning and the value that comes from this. Because it's associated with Scorpio, it can be oftentimes moody, emotional. This transformation can be hard, right? But we're able to deal with it, learn from it, and assimilate it is the best way that I can put this to you guys. Now, here is the next card. The midweek is the King of Wands, authority, challenge, and leadership. So I like that the King of Wands is here. We saw him last week. This dog always looks very pensive to me. The King of Wands is about taking action, making things happen, right? He is the fire sign. He is element of spirit, right? He is sort of the one that's going to take action maybe even prior to thinking about it. With this dog, though, with this wolf or husky, whatever this dog is here, he always looks slightly more pensive to me. His eyes are set sort of in the present time, but also to the future in this particular photograph, which speaks to me that he is looking to the future, but he's also kind of partially in the present, which to me is not necessarily always a King of Wands attribute. I like this King of Wands because he feels like there's some thought put into what he's doing, or some questions being asked prior to taking the action, right? The King of Wands oftentimes will be more about like, I see that, I take it, it's mine, like I want it, right? And I'm going to make it happen, and I'm not going to take no for an answer. This King of Wands feels a little bit more like, yes, I want it, but I'm going to craft a perfect plan in how to get it. Does that make sense? So this should be, after the death card, as I'm like connecting these two cards, there should be a feeling of, I don't know if completion is the right word, but because this is the king, there's a self-sufficiency, there's a competency, there's an authority that comes with kings, that if we're in the middle of the week and we call upon this King of Wands energy, we should be able to see things from a grander perspective or a greater perspective, and understand our capabilities and what it is we're looking for, right? What it is we're going after, which direction we kind of want to move in by looking at our now, and then by looking at what's like sort of in our immediate future. This king is not totally off dreaming in the deep future, right? He's looking more at maybe what's the word, like initial steps right now that are going to get him where he needs to be in the next, few days or weeks to come, right? He doesn't feel like he's long off in the distance going like, oh, if I just do this, it's going to make this happen. This is a little bit more, I get the vibe of pensive with this dog. It's a little bit more pensive and contemplative than I would expect from a King of Wands, but it doesn't necessarily mean that we're not going to take action, that we're not going to move, that we're not going to make informed decisions. Now, the end of the week card is the Seven of Swords. Theft, deception, and trickery. I feel like we saw these. Did we not see these in last week's? Where the hell did we see these? No, it wasn't last week's. I guess Friday, Saturday. No, okay. Seven of Swords is the liar, cheater, stealer card. I'm going to be honest with you. It's not a great card. It's about betrayal of some sort. It's about becoming aware of something that's not working for us anymore, something that's usually in the background. Swords, it represents that air element. It also represents communication, how we think, how we feel. Oftentimes, the Seven of Swords indicates a person around us maybe not being trustworthy. There could be, with that death card in the beginning of the week, there could be some things that are coming to our realization that we have to look at, that we're not going to be able to get around. The King of Wands is probably the one that's having to look at that in the midweek. Does that make sense? The Seven of Swords can be either maybe a situation not being honest, a person not being honest, information not being true or real or working for us. We could also be, the Seven of Swords could be us betraying ourselves to a certain degree, right? Like lying to ourselves in some way, shape, or form to kind of make things okay, or to make things more easy. This Death card in the beginning of the week makes me wonder if there is a situation that's transforming or changing at a fairly large level. Are we in agreement to it? And if we aren't, are we lying to ourselves in some way through this Seven of Swords? Or are we allowing ourselves to be lied to by someone else in some way to continue forward, right? And I think that the King of Wands is all about that element of spirit and desire. He's oftentimes associated with the sign of Sagittarius, but or any of the fire signs really, Leo, Sagittarius, or Aries, but he, to me, it almost feels like there could be something that we desire, some sort of an outcome that we want that we're not necessarily really willing to let go of this week. And that's the Death card, and that's the Seven of Swords. And the reality is that we have to maybe look at it for what it is to be able to move forward. And that the forward movement would be representative of that King of Wands. And that's why he's so sort of pensive in this reading. And why he appears pensive to me is because he doesn't necessarily know how to move forward just yet. And that needs to be figured out. Is this, with whatever we're looking at, right? Whatever's transforming, whatever needs to maybe die off or change. Maybe there's like a dynamic in a relationship that you have that doesn't necessarily work for you anymore. And you need to like deal with the reality of that and act from that place. The King of Wands is trying to figure out how best to do that. And the indicators around us with the Death card and the Seven of Swords is that like, we have to look at the facts here and make a decision from there. Rather than allow ourselves to either continue to lie to ourselves or to be lied to. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Let's go to the White Light Oracle. So we have Cupio Dissolvi. Interesting. Card number 2. Twos are oftentimes about relationships to me. Sometimes the relationship to the self. Cupio Dissolvi sounds like love falling apart to me. Like Cupio makes me think of Cupid, the name of my dog, but also the angel that is associated with Valentine's Day, the one that strikes you with love, right? And then Dissolvi makes me think of dissolving. Like, is the love of Cupid going to dissolve on us? I hope that's not the case, but let's see what's going on. There could be, with this Death card and the Seven of Swords, there could be, for some of you, especially in a romantic situation, there could be something where we're being lied to, or we're become aware of the fact that we can't necessarily have it continue on the way that it's been going. Let's say that. All right, so let me read Cupio Dissolvi to you really quick. I do like that she looks like she's working from her heart chakra in the card. I also love that she's at rest or at peace, right? She's kind of gone inward to me. She's giving me a bit of Four of Swords vibes in a way, right? Where she's going inward and checking her heart and what it is that she wants, and she's emanating from that heart space. But that heart space is going to have a truth within it that's going to not allow us to be lied to through this Seven of Swords. It's also going to not allow us to not deal with the transformation of the Death card in the beginning of the week. So keep that in mind. Let me get the book. Sorry, I'm also shuffling the Hidden Truth. So card number 2, Cupio Dissolvi. Okay. It is time to let go. Things are working out in their own way. Trust that your heart is wise and is leading you on a soul healing journey and the right spiritual path. Spirit wants to bring you a blessing and a resolution, but you must let go and allow it to happen. Now, that let go would be the Death card for sure, guys. Events are unfolding according to a higher plan. Even if your plans are going awry, know that all will come together at the right time and in the best way possible. Surrender your struggle and hold on to your faith. You do not need to be in control in order to be safe and have things work out in the best possible way. In an often spiritually deficient modern culture, we have developed a kind of mystical amnesia. We have forgotten the genuine, effective, and astonishing power of spiritual intervention that can be evoked by an open heart. This oracle brings you a message from spirit. There is a problem in your life that seems very real and substantial, yet if you approach it from a more mystical perspective, desiring spiritual connection and healing, that issue can dissolve. It can be absorbed into spiritual light and be healed. It can transform in such a way that your current viewpoint of suffering will cease to exist. There is a path for healing you have yet to recognize. As you let go of what you think should or must be, you will recognize a perhaps unexpected path to your true healing and inner fulfillment opening up before you. The Latin phrase cupio dissolvi refers to a desire to dissolve, to be absorbed into the luminosity of the soul, where there is beauty, relief, and peace. To enter into such a state requires a loosening of our attachments and fixations upon our problems in the physical world. This does not mean we deny our troubles. In letting go, we give spirit permission to heal the state of heart and mind that has led us into these difficulties. It can be surprising just how much we hold on to things we wish to be freed from. It might help you to let go if you reflect on what would be different for you if this problem is no longer in your life. Sometimes we might hold on to pain hoping to gain acknowledgement from a certain person who may just lack the emotional capacity and spiritual development to grant us a heartfelt apology. Sometimes we punish ourselves by holding on to pain, holding impossible and unhelpful standards of inhuman perfection when we could forgive ourselves and move on. Spiritually, we have the power to forgive and free ourselves and others. There is so much to be gained in doing so. It is a way to heal the heart from emotional poison, awaken inner peace and freedom, and move forward with our lives. As we forgive and enter the temple of the heart, we can see beautiful visions of what is now possible. Feelings of euphoria may awaken. We realize we've set ourselves free from the past. A constraint that once weighed heavily upon our hearts has been cast off by our spiritual will. Knowing we have such beautiful power within can bring gratitude and wonder into our hearts. In the spiritual landscape of the heart, we let go of what we think and engage with what we feel. The true mystical experience of divine love is not just emotional, it is transfiguring. It helps us transform ourselves and our lives. This oracle guides you to immerse yourself in the spiritual light within your heart. A beautiful and uplifting outcome is being offered to you. Trust in spirit, let go, and receive. So before I read the healing process on this card, guys, I feel like there's something that we might be looking at with this death and the Seven of Swords. There could be something that we're contemplating or challenged by this week that seems far worse than it actually may be. That's my feeling here. And that the King of Wands, to me, him being associated with wands, spirit, and desire, almost feels like we need to maybe really look to our heart and our spirit and what's drawing us, and then find this ability to clear this stuff out and find a new way to perceive, find a new way to transform this situation. Whether we're the ones lying to ourselves or we feel as though a situation's not being honest with us through this Seven of Swords, it's maybe up to us not to necessarily deny the dishonesty, but to find a different way of looking at it or being dealing within the situation. For some of you, this Seven of Swords, and for me personally, this feels like the Seven of Swords for me, if I look at this reading in regards to my life, is where do I undermine myself with lies about shitty self-esteem? Where do I tell myself that I'm not good enough? And those are ultimately lies. And I have a tendency to do that. I have a tendency to be highly self-critical. And so for me, and I'm just using that as an example, I can see how that Seven of Swords for me could indicate like, okay, Dan, where are you lying to yourself? Where are you holding yourself back? Where are you in fear, resentment, discord with a situation of what you desire? Because that the King of Wands in the center is definitely about looking to something in the future and wanting it. We're just not sure that we deserve it or can have it. And that might be the lie that we're telling ourselves. All right. So healing process. Consider any problem that you have been wrestling with or a painful situation or interpretation of events to which you are attached. If you are willing to do so, you can now set an intention to offer that attachment to spirit through this healing process. Place a hand on your heart and consciously connect to the flow of your breath. Close your eyes and rest for several moments. Imagine, feel, or intend that you are now aware of your heart, experiencing it from the inside as though you were sitting in the middle of your heart chakra. From deep within the center of your heart, a pure white spiritual light begins to radiate outward. It feels joyful, uplifting, peaceful, expansive. Now we place bhavana, a Sanskrit word that means infusion. Now we practice bhavana, a Sanskrit word that means infusion. Allow the white light to gently infuse your being like a sacred tea, subtly perfuming and enriching your soul. The white light is being absorbed into your cells, into your mind, into your heart, yet you feel more settled, peaceful, and blissful as this process unfolds. Intend to release your offering into the light now, letting it go from your heart. In the light, it can dissolve and transform. This process can be gentle and powerful. Sense that you, your offering, and the light are one. Complete this practice with manolaya, a Sanskrit word meaning immersion and complete absorption. Gracefully choose to let everything else go and settle into being one with the light. Take your time and gently emerge from your luminous contemplation when you are ready. Ground yourself and you have completed your practice. So if we're holding on to negativity of any sort, because death in Seven of Swords would indicate that, right? If we're holding on to where we've been betrayed, where we've been lied to, there's an opportunity here, I think, to transcend that for us this week. And we need to figure out how to best do that. So let's go to the hidden truth and see what the hidden truth grounding card is this week. And if any of my viewers want to go to my Amazon wish list and get me more hidden truths, there's like 3 or 4 of these decks. You can certainly purchase it on my Amazon wish list and have it sent to me. I do like these hidden truth decks. They're kind of cool with just these little statements. Oh my God, I can't do this. Wow. This week is about endings, guys. This week is about what is working for us and what is not. And I get a feeling that with this I can't do this, that this is going to be an absolute in your face, no denying the outcome. Only because the severity of death, the intensity of the King of Wands, and then the Seven of Swords all indicate being shown something that we sort of have to look at. And we either have to transfigure it or transmute it or change how we connect to it. Bringing in this Cupio dissolvi, right, is about like bringing in the white light and the love into a situation that maybe has not worked for us in the past or has continued to not work for us. And now we're at a place where we just can't deny that any longer this week. But I will say this, even with the intensity of these cards, we do have the capacity to transform this. That's the Cupio dissolvi. And the strength of the King of Wands. I just feel like there's a pensiveness. If there's something that we desire that we can't step away from or can't let go of or can't allow it to be transformed, we need to find that answer within ourselves this week. It's going to be an interesting week. Please tune in tomorrow and we will see how these cards build each day. I'm interested to see what you guys are thinking of these readings. Please let me know in the comments if you're enjoying these decks together and if these readings are making sense. Please like the video and subscribe if you're new to me. I would greatly appreciate that. Share the video out in your social media feeds or your groups where it would be accepted. And then also leave me a question or comment so that I know that you're here and I know whether or not these readings are making sense to what you're dealing with in your day-to-day life. Know that you've got this and you can do this. You just need to find a different way of doing it. All right, take care and have a good day. Bye-bye.